What is good, gang? Welcome back to my podcast or my YouTube channel. So, thank you so much for being here. Today was going to be one of those chill days for me, but I really wanted to share this success story from a client that I talked with yesterday. And this is a client that I've been working with for about a month. And she wanted to revise a specific situation with her specific person. She's wanted her specific person back. They have not been in contact for about 7 months, and he contacted her this past weekend on her birthday. And really, the way that she got the realization, the more that we talked, we have one more week of working together, but it's been about 3 weeks. And since that first week we've talked, she's really done an amazing transformation into really realizing that she's the source. So let's talk about it, you guys. Let's really talk about this. So, quickly, what is revision? Revision. One of the ways that I like to use revision is in this now present moment. When you're revising every moment, when you're deciding to be someone different, and remember, why is this? Because once you change your perception and bring yourself back to that wholeness, that oneness, knowing that you are one with your desires, then it rights everything that you felt was I'm not good enough. I don't have any lack. When you think from oneness. So it really is about your perspective, your perception in this now moment. It revises your past because you now have a different perception of what your past means because you're giving everything meaning as the source. So you don't have to like go back and change everything. You can do it here in this now moment. But for those of us who have had those stories that are on repeat, the ones that produce guilt and shame and you feel that you can't get rid of, you would take a situation from a past. Let's just say you and your specific person got into a really bad argument and it was just really, really bad, and they broke up with you. And so you would go back in your mind and you would see the situation before the conversation got out of control. You would see that it went differently. So maybe the your SP said, "You know what? Like maybe let's take a break and talk later," or "You know what? I love you. I'm sorry." They said exactly what you wanted them to say. You said exactly what you wanted to say, and you both just went to sleep and you guys never broke up. And the more that you replay that over and over and over again, it will be that. But what it's doing, because a lot of people say, well, it didn't change, they still remember, and all these things. It's not that it changed what already collapsed into the 3D, because remember, you exist in every reality. But what it's doing now is giving you the outcome that you wanted for things to be the way that you want them to be, that you guys are still in a relationship. So it's not about changing, it's about choosing what you would have preferred to happen, which brings you to another timeline. So it's the same thing, you guys. So let's get into this story. So again, this client, she had not been in contact with her specific person in 7 months, and she didn't know what happened to him, where he went, or anything like that. Like once they broke up this last time, it was just like silence. And of course, she had manifested him back 2 times previously, but there was always that same thing where he was hot and cold and all these things. And she said that he had all these things going on in his life where it seemed that their lifestyles were just not matching up. So remember, this client is a very great manifester. She has manifested so much for her life: a successful career, amazing friendships, loving family, everything. Like it seems like she just got it all. Like she got it all except in the relationship department. She said that everything in her life was perfect, just like she wanted, except her relationship. And so she's very self aware, very, very self aware, very logical. And she was like, I just don't know what happened. I want it to make sense. And the thing that she said that broke them up, that she really wanted to revise, was that the last straw was that he was being hot and cold. He was in between jobs and he couldn't make his rent, but she paid his rent for him. So she paid his rent for him, and he said that he was going to pay her back, but then he ended up getting into some more financial things, so he was not able to pay her back. And she said that it was just the one thing that she was just like, no, I'm done. But she loves him and she wants him back. But she said that she also know that she contributed to the arguments about it, and she was, being on him about it and all these things, and trying to get him to, get better in better positions in life. She was helping him, and stepping in and really manipulating the 3D. Basically, that's what she was doing. And she said she was revising, seeing things that whole time, like revising, like for him to get the jobs that he didn't get and all these things, but it was not working. And so she said that it was just like she was just done with it. She was done with it. And she said it just had been a lot of trouble. And so I told her, I said, you might be looking at the relationship that it's trouble, but let's talk about you and who you're being. And so she just again was saying how everything in her life was perfect except that. And she said she knows that he could do better. She knew that he could have been better and all these things, but she said she was just tired and exhausted of always looking at content. She was just overstimulated. She just was like, I don't want to say another affirmation. I don't want to do anything. I just don't know. I give up, but at the same time I want him back. And I said, yeah. I said, well, if everything in your life is perfect now with what it is, then I really want you guys to understand, if you are overly logical, and me, I'm raising my hand when I say this to you guys. When you are overly logical, you are constantly living in your head and constantly pulling stories from the past and bringing them to the present moment, and you're using them to analyze what is appearing now and filtering it through that same outcome that you got previously before. So you're recreating circumstances over and over and over again. And this is what we talked about. And when you're overly logical, you have to learn how to dance with life. And that's everybody. But you have to learn how to be present with where you are, with what you've already created. And so I told her, I said, well, this first week, do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. And I know you guys, everybody's first question is, well, what should I do? Or what am I supposed to do? And it's not that there's anything to do, it's just to be. It's to choose who you want to be and then move from there. But remember, we've been working together for about a month. So this first week, she didn't really do anything. Like she said, she did not do anything. She just wanted to give herself a break from trying to figure it out pretty much. But she wanted him back. She knew. And I'm like, girl, like the universe knows exactly what you want. Your higher self knows what you want. We think just because we stop thinking about it, talking about it, that it's not going to come. Trust me, your higher self knows. But after that first week, she said that she felt a lot better. So when we talked that second time, she said that she wanted him to come back for her birthday, wanted at least for him to reach out. And her birthday was this past weekend, which he did reach out to her. But she said that at that time, she didn't know if he was going to reach out to her and all these things. And she said that she just wanted to get content with what she had. And she said, you know what? I'm going to just focus on what I do have. I have amazing relationships. I have my family. I have my career that I love. I have all these things that are amazing to me. So I'm just going to plan a dinner or a party with my family and my friends, and be present and feel the love there. And I know a lot of people are thinking like, well, what technique did she do? What is she doing? And the technique is not in actually doing a manifestation, but the technique is in the being. Remember, you are the cause. So who you're being, when you're relaxed, when you're neutral about things have a chance in this 3D world to form around who you're being. We've talked about this. So sometimes when you've been overly logical and doing too much and adding on and adding on and adding on more, it's about removing what you're not so you can reveal your true self. So I'm so glad that she trusted me through this process, because the way that it unfolded, she knew what it really was, but it just was not showing itself to her because she was trying to figure it out. And remember, you can't figure it out from the one who has stories about the person, stories about yourself, from the one who's not. So it's to release yourself from that version and that person, and to be neutral and be present in the moment, because the answers are here now. So she said that we talked this past weekend, and this is where she tells me that she said that that previous week where we talked, and she said, you know what, she was just going to be present with what she had. She said that she actually started working from home that week, and she went out on walks with her friends. Like she limited social media. She said that she did practice a gratitude journal, but she just said because she had all these things that she wanted to do, wanted to be married already, wanted to have kids with this person, had her whole life planned. She said, but if everything else in my life is showing perfect, I really want to be present with that right now and love who's loving me, be here, have fun on my birthday, no matter what. So she got present with what she's already created. Because remember, you create every reality. So when you're present with what you've already created and finding the abundance, finding the perfection that is now, then what you really want will be revealed. And it's really getting into a trust with yourself, with your higher self, with your that knowing. And remember, this person has manifested many things in her life. So she knew this. She knew that if she could just trust that she was the way, because in other situations, like she has been the way. So if she could just trust that if she was present right now, that it would reveal itself, the truth or what she needed to do, the people who needed to play their part will reveal themselves. So she said that she went walking with her friend, and this was the conversation that pretty much changed everything for her that last previous week before her birthday. So she said that she went walking with her friend, and her friend was asking her about her birthday, what she wanted to do. Did she want to go over the top and all these things? And she said, you know what? Like, let's just keep it like a fun. Let's have a cookout or something like that. Something just fun with all the friends and family. Like people can come over. Like, let's not make it a big deal. So she didn't want to make it a big deal. She just wanted to be around everybody, wanted a place where everybody can come. So she just said, let's do it at her house. And her friend was like looking at her like, was she okay? And she was like, well, what is it? And her friend said, you just seem like such a perfectionist about everything. You seem like such a perfectionist about everything. This is a milestone birthday. I'm thinking that you would have wanted to go a little bit more out, like have people dressed up or have a reservation. Or she was like that. She said, that's just, it's just different. And she said that she was just quiet for a moment, and it just dawned on her. She said it's like everything came to her at once, that she said that she always identified herself as a perfectionist. So she was looking through the life of a perfectionist. And what does a perfectionist do, you guys? What is a story of a perfectionist? They need to have things to look at to make perfect, or to look at circumstances and try to change them into being perfect instead of seeing that it's already perfect. So she said that in that moment, she realized that what she was looking at with her specific person, that version of him, it was perfect in that moment because she was a perfectionist and she needed something to try to fix. And she said it just dawned on her that that was the reason why he could never change, because she was always trying to make him change. She was looking that something was wrong with him. Something was wrong with his job. Something was wrong with whatever happened between them. She just was looking from the perspective of a perfectionist, that this one thing needed to be perfect and then everything in her reality will be perfect, instead of seeing that it was perfect all along with what she had. But if she changed her identity and his identity to whole and complete and not separate, then somehow things would have to work out with each other. And she just said that she had that moment where she was just like, it's been perfect all along, that every reality is actually truly perfect. That yes, it's not working because she wants everything to be whole. She wants him to be whole, but not from the one who's coming from a perfectionist. So she just said that she started thinking back to everything that they have done where he was whole, he was the person that she wanted him to be. And she said that night before she went to bed, she said this time when she revised, she was actually going to visualize herself as whole, as complete, that everything in her life was perfect because it was, not needing to change anything. And then she would also revise and see him as whole, as perfect, as complete, that he had everything he needed because there is no separation in the one mind. And so if she sees herself as perfect, then the relationship and he has to be perfect too. And so she just really said that it was like this light bulb moment because she wasn't realizing that she was moving from that state of a perfectionist, trying to change and fix inside that reality, instead of realizing that she was the source, coming out of that reality, knowing that she was standing in her power, and then choosing again. So she said that she also revised a little bit of the situation with their last interaction and all. But what it really was is she said that the difference was she got this time that she needed to move, that she wasn't moving. She was still thinking from a perfectionist and wanted things to change with him. So she was always revising him but never revising her and her story. So she was constantly changing his story, and he would show things, show little things where it would be good for a while, but it always went back. And why did it go back? Because she was a perfectionist, and she was coming from the perfectionist, always needing to fix something. So she zeroed in on him and was trying to fix things about him instead of seeing that for that reality, that perfectionist reality, he had to exist that way for the reality of a perfectionist to exist. And that's what I want you guys to understand. Sometimes when you're looking from a certain viewpoint, a certain lens, whatever shows up in your reality is perfect because it has to show you the identity that you're taking on. But once she changed her identity to just everything in her life is perfect, everything in her life must be perfect. And so she said that she could just immediately see it the next day she woke up. She just saw through a different lens. She saw through that oneness. And so she knew that nothing was wrong with him. And so her birthday, she said that she had a little get together with her family and all, and everything was all good. She said she went through the rest of the week just feeling different, feeling lighthearted. She said at that point, it was okay if he didn't come back for her birthday or didn't say anything. She was just like, whatever, cool, it'll be fine. And her birthday was this past Sunday. So during her hanging out with her family, she said that she had saw that she had a missed call from him, but she was just in the moment hanging out with her family. But he ended up sending her a text message. But she said she still was just like, maybe he's just calling to wish me happy birthday. But she wasn't thinking about like relationship type things. She said, of course, like he'll call me on my birthday because, we've been in a relationship for so long and we're still like, care about each other. So she assumed that he would call. She said at the end, when everybody was leaving, she ended up checking her messages and she saw that he had actually Apple paid her for the money back that she used to pay his rent, plus more on top of that. And he said in the message, happy birthday. Thank you so much for always being a wonderful person. You're perfect. He put you're perfect on it. And so she said that when she read that, she was just like, oh my gosh, like it was just like an instant mirror for her. And it just unfolded in that way. But then she said that she called him later on that evening and she said he sounded so different. And since it's been about 7 months, he's actually moved to another city, but he also has a better job, better friends, getting into a better situation, just enjoying his life. He's still single, but he hasn't moved. She said he's probably moved about an hour and a half away to for a better job, but they'll still be in contact. But she said that when they got on the phone, it was like nothing ever happened in the way of he was talking from a different space, from oneness, from secureness. And so he was talking to her about how things in his life have been amazing. And it was like she didn't even bring up the past where it wasn't. And she said it was just like it was perfect. She said the conversation went perfectly. And they're still going to communicate. They're still going to communicate. She said she doesn't know if they'll necessarily get back together just yet, but she's not pushing for it. But she said she was just happy to know that he is in a better position because she now sees him differently. But she ultimately realizes is because she sees herself differently. She moved to everything is perfect. And so everything has to be perfect. It was already perfect. He was already that person, like doing those things, but it couldn't be revealed to her because she was still looking through the lens of separation and that he needs to be fixed and that reality needs to be fixed. So during that whole 7 months, he's been fine, but couldn't be shown to her until she actually moved. So remember, you guys, you have to make the movement and it unfolds through you. So she moved to the timeline where everything had been perfect, where he was perfect, his job is perfect, his money situation is perfect, he keeps his word, all those things. It's been perfect. And so I'm excited to see how this unfolds. She said that he has been texting her and that they've been talking a little more. And she said, but she's not placing this huge expectation, but she already knows that they're together. So I'm so excited to hear this. And I'm just glad that she actually took that approach of doing nothing and choosing to be neutral about everything because she already knew that she could get what she wanted, but it will be revealed to you guys. That would have never been revealed, the whole state of coming from a perfectionist, had she would have been thinking from that state of being in a perfectionist. But she eased up on herself and the story of herself and let herself just experience and be neutral about everything. That when her friend said that she was a perfectionist, it caught her in a different way. And she did say that before, if her friend would have called her perfectionist, she would have gotten upset about it. She was taking on an identity that that was not true for her. She wanted to see the oneness. She wanted to know that everything was already perfect. So when you get neutral about things, things will be revealed to you. But when you're just clenched down on one thing happening a certain way, things can't move. So I'm so excited for her. We have one more week to work together, and I'm so excited to hear how everything is working out for her. But yeah, you guys, I want to leave this here. Revision is about you changing, you being different, and you dropping all the stories and seeing that there was never any separation between you, your SP, and your desires. But you have to see, a lot of us see our SPs and we want them to be different, but we're not actually making the movement to be different, to see that there was never any separation. So I love this success story. And yeah, I hope that this really inspired you. And if you would like a session with me by phone or email, get down in the description box below. And you guys, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And once again, imagination is always on your side, and I am too. Bye.